Welcome back, baseball family. As the Brad Master said, we are going to get into a recap of the divisions. This time we're going to do the East. We're going to start with the American League as we always do. Then we're going to move over to the National League, and I can talk, I promise. Going to move over to the National League second. First, though, I want to tell you that we're going to start from the bottom of the division and work our way up. So for those of you who would like to track things or skip ahead if you need to, whatever you want to do, it's fine. We get it. It's okay. But we're going to start with the Blue Jays in the American League. They finished fifth place. They had a team ERA of 4.29. That's good enough for 22nd in Major League Baseball. Their team OPS, 18th in Major League Baseball with 703. So there you go. Win percentage, 457. I think that is relevant information, that they had a 457.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the AL East, and you can rag on it all you want, but that is still, I know it's sub 500, but there's only two teams in the AL East with sub 500 records.
It's not that far below either. I mean, I guess
it's
there are
not
14 games under 500, so
but not as bad as we saw in other divisions. Anyway, Brad, what do you think was what were some of the standout moments? What were the highlights? If you were to broad stroke it, what would you say was great for the Blue Jays this season?
Vlad had a great year.
Yep.
Vlad Jr. had a great year. Dalton Varsho has been a revelation. Everybody knew he was good. Like, especially Lourdes Gurriel Jr. knew Dalton Varsho was good, right?
Yeah, he did. He really did.
But I don't think any of us knew he was this good. I didn't think any of us knew he was going to be this kind of outfielder. Because think about this for just a minute. That he is listed as an outfielder and a catcher.
Mm-hmm.
How often do guys transition from catcher to outfielder and have some of the best range in Major League Baseball? Pretty much zero.
Because what's
one thing catchers are known for, Brig? Tell me one thing catchers are known for.
Slow.
Yes, that's the one right there.
Yeah, you go.
That's the one. To be a center fielder, you got to be fast. Dalton Varsho is very fast. He's a very good outfielder. So I was wildly impressed. Everybody was, and he's only 5'8" too. That's the other thing that gets me. And 90% torso. When people were talking about Dalton Varsho is like a Gold Glove outfielder, I'm like, bull. No, he's not. There is no way. But you watch him play, you look at the metrics, and he absolutely is, and it's absurd.
Yeah. It is
crazy.
Absurd. For me, their biggest standout was their pitching, right? Jose Barrios, 3.6 ERA. Strikeout rate dropped off a little bit, but he was still super solid. I mean, Chris Bassett, his stuff jumped a little bit, but it wasn't horrendous. He ended up with a 4.16 ERA, and his velocity went up from 2023. I don't think it's great pitching, but I think it's better. It was one of the highlights of their season.
It was serviceable, that's for sure. You said Kikuchi, they ended up trading him, and he had finished the year really great for the Astros, and I think that's what... The thing that's funny about Kikuchi is that the way he pitched for the Astros is that's what the entire league saw when he came over from Japan. It's this is who he is. Right. This is who he can be. He was an all-star for the first half of the season with Seattle because that's who he was one of those years that he was there, right? So, the pitching was really interesting to me because one of the things that I was looking at is as a team when they had a 4.29 ERA, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's fifth worst in the American League. But the problem they really ran into is they gave up a whole bunch of home runs. It was the Blue Jays gave up 208, the Angels 202, the White Sox 201. And that was the only three teams in the American League that gave up more than 200 homers this year.
That's true. You're right. You're right about that.
That's going to be a big-time problem.
That's true.
And then their ERA
22nd overall. 22nd overall in ERA. Wow.
Yeah.
If I think that's a bright spot for them, they have big problems. Because I still think that they have some bright spots in their pitching, but I didn't look at those widespread team statistics. I was just looking at a couple
As
of
a
guys.
team, they weren't very good. They have individual guys. Like, Barrios is very good. I like Barrios
Very
a lot.
good.
Right?
Yeah.
But offensively, though, it was just not a good year for anybody. Like, they were third to last in the American League in home runs. Their OPS plus, they were smack dab in the middle average at 100, which is saying something because, I mean, you look at Vlad.
Yeah.
He was 166. Spencer Horwitz was 125. And then Justin Turner, when he was with the Blue Jays, he didn't even finish the season with them, was 107. Other than that, their starters, those are the only guys over 100.
Wow.
IKF was 116, but
Yeah.
he only played in 83 games.
Which is so sad. That dude's awesome. I know he gets a bad rap, and I just continue to believe he's underrated. And the injuries not
I
going to
do
help.
too. Yep, I absolutely agree with you on that.
In 162 games, they committed 92 errors as a team. That puts them in that's 8th place on 8th from the bottom, right? That's what is that
worst.
math? 21st. The Yankees were 22nd. Like they were
right there with
the next
them.
bad. Yeah. So
Yeah, but maybe
maybe we'll
just
give
not,
them
the
errors
problem is
committed.
As I say, the problem is when you're making that many errors and you're giving up that many home runs, you have to have the offense to make up for it, and they just didn't. They didn't have it. And part of it is Bo Bichette played in 81 games this year. That's a problem.
For sure.
He ended up finishing the season with a negative .3 WAR. That is not Bo Bichette like. This is a down year for him. I'd say this is an outlier. I would expect him to be healthy next year and come back and have a great year. Right?
I agree.
That's part of the problem, is that Bo Bichette was not able to carry his weight this year, and that's going to be a significant issue for this team. If he can carry his weight, help with Vlad, Dalton Varsho gets back and he was slightly below average. If he is just enough above average as he was below average this year, if he has an OPS plus of 102 next year and then has another Gold Glove year, he's going to be a great contributor to this team.
Yeah, let me mention a couple things about Vlad really quick. He led the team in batting average, home runs, RBIs, on base, and total hits. It's kind of his banner
Not surprising.
year. I know.
Not surprising.
It's freaking awesome, man. It's freaking awesome.
Great year for him. So one thing going forward about the Blue Jays is they have said that they are going to be in on Juan Soto as much as anybody else.
Yeah, I know. I heard that. But thank you for
coming. That's fine. They can say that.
Yeah.
But it's not going to make a difference.
No. That's why I said thank you for coming. It's like,
yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Not going to matter. Super cool.
Not at all.
Love it. Love your energy. Feeling good about it.
I love the energy, yes. Exactly right. All right, Brig, let's get in and talk about the Rays. You want to take us in there and start telling us about them?
Yeah, man. They had a 80-82 season, 4th place in the American League East. Team ERA, 378. That is 9th in Major League Baseball. But the team OPS was 29th in Major League Baseball with a 669. That's bad.
Well, yeah, and if you want to compare directly, they were 90. They had an OPS plus of 92. That's bad. That's the third worst in the American League, behind only the Angels and the White Sox, who, by the way, were at 77. We'll get there though.
Yikes. Did you know that Wander Franco was just arrested? By the way, again after an altercation.
Yeah, I know. We'll leave it at that because I don't want to give that guy any more airtime than he needs.
That's it. Anyway, so batting, the batting average leader, Yandy Diaz, at 281, which is great. That's a respectable average today. Home runs, Brandon Lau, 21. Yandy Diaz led every other category, RBI, on base, and total hits. His on base percentage was 341.
Though, My guy, Jose Caballero, led the American League with 44 stolen bases. He also led the American League with 16 caught stealing. Just like I said, he would. Not directly,
Yep.
because I did say he's going to steal a bunch of bases. He's also going to get caught a bunch of times, is what I said at the beginning of the season. But,
You
hey,
did.
Rays fans, you had a whole lot of fun watching him, though, didn't you? Because I also said that.
Yeah, when he wasn't striking out 133 times, second in the team
So
next to
much.
Jose Siri.
Strikes out so much.
And Jose Siri struck out 170 times.
Holy moly.
Yeah, that's
Let's talk
bad.
about Jose Siri for just a minute, because he had an OPS plus of 76. He has been on an absolute spiral that started in, like, September of 2023. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he and Wander Franco were buddies or what, but something happened, and Jose Siri has just been on an absolute spiral, like I said, and has not been good at all. He has his moments. Right? Where this year they tried to say, Jose Siri, or hey Siri, it's not going to work, or something like that, and he homers on the next pitch, right? Comedic timing, but generally speaking, has not worked for him. 18 homers this year. He's better than that. He's a better hitter than that. He's better than a 76 OPS plus. As a reminder, 100 is league average, always.
Right. Yep.
He had 25 homers last year with an OPS plus of 105. Like, what's going on? It's bizarre.
Well, his batting average is at 187 over the season.
I know. It's so
awful.
crazy. 620 OPS. I don't know, man. They're going to have to figure out something with him, or just decide that when it's time to cut bait. Because, yikes. It has not been good, and it has been he's just fallen off a cliff from where he was at the beginning of last year. And I know everybody was playing out of their minds with the Rays last year. But still, he's only got 2 years of service time. He's certainly not going to be a Super 2, so they don't have to worry about arbitration yet. They have one more year to figure it out on him. But still, like, I guess he's got 3 years, because that was the start of the season. So he's got just over 3 years of service time. But still, like, I don't know, man. Because that's a problem. You can't have your center fielder playing like that offensively.
The best pitcher the Rays had was Zach Littell. 3.63 ERA with 141 Ks. That's 66th. He won 8 games, lost 10, but his WHIP is 1.25, and he led the team with 63 earned runs.
So,
of course,
basically what it comes down to,
he has the most innings pitched,
right,
as well. So it'll balance itself out, but.
Yeah, basically what it comes down to with the Rays, though, is the pitching always has been, and always will be absolute money. The problem is that you do have to pay for bats.
Yep.
Yandy Diaz cannot do it all by himself. Isaac Paredes cannot do it all by himself, who, by the way, was heavily shopped this year. Paredes was.
Right. Yeah.
And so they're looking to get rid of one of their top 2 offensive guys. And actually, they did. I apologize. They did trade him to the Cubs. They traded him to the Cubs at the trade deadline. So, what do you do? Right?
I don't know.
I don't know what you do.
I don't know. I have no idea.
They better have some studs coming up in their system, or they're going to be even worse next year. They're going to have more problems.
Do you think they will? I don't know what their system looks like right now. I haven't looked.
I have no idea what their system looks like right now. We'll have to look at that stuff going into the season with our preview. But at this point, though, like, you don't have your guys, because Randy Rosarena's gone too.
Right. Yeah, he's gone. But their starting rotation is right now, as of this moment, 5th in baseball when you consider their strikeouts per walk percentage, and they're 7th in WHIP. So again, like you said,
they're the East Coast pitching. Mariners, Brig. But their offense was not as good as the Mariners for some reason.
Not this year.
Which is weird. But great elite pitching, but you just not enough offense. And by that I mean like basically none. So
let's go into the Red Sox.
Let's do it.
The Red Sox had a really interesting season. 81 and 81. It's good enough for 500, in case you can't math. Like me. Team ERA, 4.05. That's good enough for 16th in Major League Baseball. But their OPS was good enough for 7th overall Major League Baseball with a 741 OPS. I think a lot of things went right for them. I think they came out of nowhere at a certain point in the season scared everyone to death. Just scared us to death, man. In the whole division, we were like, what is going on? And with a bunch of nobodies for the most part. Yeah. Yeah, it was a little bit bitter all the way to the end. So they did great. They played hustle baseball. They played good fundamentals. And the problem is their pitching just fell off. They just couldn't hold it together with pitching. And because of that,
so their pitching is, as far as their pitching is like perfectly average, right? Like, and I think that's going to hold serve for you to some degree. Their offense, though, like, this is the thing that's crazy. So these are kind of some interesting things. They were second in the American League in total bases. And the reason they were second in total bases is because they were first in doubles. That team was a doubles machine.
Yeah.
Just pumping them out. 311, they led the American League. But then home runs, too, they're fourth. They're fourth in the American League in home runs.
Yep.
And so, great hitting team. I felt like offensively, they did a lot of things really well. I watched them play the Mariners early in the season. It was like the second series of the season or something like that. And there were some guys, I was like, they're going to cause some problems. Duran was one of them.
Duran
He's caused problems for people all year.
That dude... all-star, right? 285, 342, 492, 21 home runs, 111 runs scored, 34 steals.
Yeah, he's got elite speed.
You know who else was a revelation? Was Tyler O'Neill. That trade for Tyler O'Neill.
So Tyler O'Neill, it's funny because like we saw him in St. Louis, right?
Yeah.
And Mariners fans know him because he was originally a Mariner, and so he got traded to St. Louis for, I think, as part of the Marco Gonzalez deal, and then he comes up, and he kind of fell out of favor with the Cardinals, and that's why they traded him, right? But
yes,
I think what it was is that he this year in Boston, I think he was good, but we didn't know he was this good. Right, because we didn't get to see it as much in St. Louis.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember every time the Mariners played the Red Sox, like, gosh, I freaking hate Tyler O'Neill.
Yeah, I had the same experience with Jarren Duran. Well, and let's not forget what went wrong. Kind of what some of the problems were. Devers was playing with some kind of shoulder injury, like the last month or so, few weeks of the season. That kicked him right in the pants when it came to that wild card race. I think that had that not been the case for Devers, they could have had a very different story. But can you imagine what would it be like to get rid of Chris Sale and watch him fly his way to a Cy Young nomination, to be a finalist for a Cy Young? That has got to feel bitter. Putting that much work, that much time, that much patience, that much development, and then you cut him loose and he freaking takes off. Ouch.
Yeah, it's got to. Absolutely. But the Red Sox held their own all year, though. Like you said, they were a nuisance in the division and the wild card all year long, that we kept wanting to be like, okay, maybe this is it. But then we just couldn't, because they just stuck around until the last week of the season when things finally just fell apart. They couldn't do it anymore. So part of the problem, though, is Trevor Story only played 26 games. If they have Trevor Story all year, I think that this team is just different enough that I think they probably make the wild card. Because the Royals didn't seem like they wanted it there at the end.
Yeah, you're right. They kind of stumbled in. I will say that their bullpen was not great all season, but then the last, past the All-Star break, the second half, their bullpen just fell off a cliff. They had I'm looking right now, finished the season with a 4.39 ERA, but the second half they had a 5.45 ERA. That's what the bullpen posted. That's bad. That's part of your problem.
That's a problem.
Right there.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that is absolutely a problem.
Yeah, I think you're gonna.
So I don't know. I think with the Red Sox, they need to shore up that pitching. I think they figure that out and they get some guys back healthy. I think they'll be right back in the mix.
Yeah,
Good
I think
team.
you're right. Yeah,
A little
I
bit better
agree
than
with
I
that.
want them to be.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Because they're probably not going to compete for the division because you've got the Orioles and the Yankees, and we'll get there in just a minute. But so the
Yeah.
Mariners do probably won't win the division because the Astros are going to be competing with the Red Sox for a wild card spot. So, like I said, not a little bit better than I wanted to be, but here we are.
It's pretty tough. Let's go into Baltimore, though, because Baltimore is a wild and crazy case study this season. 91 and 71. Second place. The team ERA, 3.94, 14th in Major League Baseball, and some of that has to do with before the break and after, before the deadline and after. And then the team OPS, 751. That's good enough for fourth overall in Major League Baseball. You've got Cedric Mullins, batting average 429 when he was playing.
How many games did he play that he's not?
Three. Two.
Cedric Mullins played 3 games?
In the postseason, it was 2.
Oh, in the
He
postseason.
batted
Okay.
429. Yeah.
I missed that part. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, sorry. He played 147 games. He had 444 at-bats and 234 average, 710 OPS, 2.6 WAR to end of the season.
So, and he also had a 107 OPS plus. Like, this is the thing that's crazy about this team, Brig. Look at the offense across the board.
I know.
Because this is this top 2 offense in the American League, which is what carried them for most of the season. Because they had some significant injuries to their pitching. So the OPS plus leader was Gunnar Henderson, 159. Holy smokes.
159 is banana pancakes.
And then you've got Colton Cowser, 123, Anthony Santander, 134, Ryan O'Hearn, 122, Ryan Mountcastle, 113, Adley Rutschman in a down year, by the way. In a down year, 107. Cedric Mullins, 107. The only one who is listed as a starter on Baseball Reference because he was when he was up with the team for 60 games is Jackson Holliday, 66. But a lot of that has to do with his first time up. Then the second time up, he was great. He was great.
Yeah, he was great.
So,
So Gunnar Henderson led the team with a batting average of 281 throughout the season. That's what I'm talking about. That's way better. That's what it needs to be. Santander, 44 home runs and 102 RBIs, and then your on-base leader, 364, Gunnar Henderson, also hits, 177, Gunnar Henderson. That's just batting. Okay, you move over to pitching. Corbin Burns, 15 wins and a 2.92 ERA. That's 181 strikeouts. Kimbrel got the saves, 23, until he couldn't.
he's not an Oriole anymore, though.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's gone. Then their relief pitcher, Mama Jamma, was Yennier Cano, 34 holds. So he's kind of the man in their middle relief spots.
Yeah, so it's again the Orioles. I felt like they were right there with the Yankees the entire season. It came down to wasn't like the last week for the division between the two, and the difference ended up being that the Orioles pitching fell off because they just so many injuries.
Yeah.
So that's tough.
That's true.
That's really tough. But
I think, didn't Zach Eflin only play I'm looking 9 games? He started 9 games.
I don't remember him playing 9 games.
Yeah, he's got 9.
But so this is the thing that's crazy.
With Tampa Bay, he started 19 games. Go ahead, sorry.
Oriole, their pitching was right smack dab in the middle as far as home runs allowed. Oh, sorry, no, that's not true. Earned runs. I apologize. I can't go straight down the line, I guess.
Yeah, 14.
632 earned runs. But for home runs, they were right up there with the Guardians and the A's. They only gave up 175. That's fourth best in the league. Part of that I think has to do with that little build-a-park section out in left field that they talk about.
Yeah,
that helps because they also are not hitting as many home runs as everybody else. I believe.
That's correct.
That's not true. I shouldn't say that.
It is true.
They finished second in the American League.
They did? Hold on, I'm looking.
They did 235.
They did
behind the
235 behind the Yankees. Now that's not just second in the American League; that's second in Major League Baseball.
It's a lot of home runs.
Out of all 32 or all 30 teams, it was Yankees 237, Baltimore 235, LA 233, and then the Braves hit 213. There's a huge difference there. Yeah, okay. They hit a lot of home runs there, Brad.
They were mashing. They mashed. Straight
They
up.
were.
Dangerous team.
Yeah.
They had a collective OPS of 18, OPS plus, of 118, which is the best in the American League.
They were on pace. After 81 games, they were on pace to win 100. But then they went 40 and 41 in the second half.
Yeah. Terrible second half killed them, and I think it was the pitching that really did it for them.
Yeah.
So
No, it was the pitching. I agree.
They're really well run, though. That team is put together really well. I have every confidence in the world that they're going to figure it out, that they're going to fill the holes. And if they stay healthy, Brig, they're going to be a problem for your Yankees.
I know. I agree. Let's
Just
talk
like
about
they
the
were
Yankees
this
for
year.
a minute. The
Let's do it.
Yankees finished 94 and 68, first place. Team ERA 3.74 for sixth in Major League Baseball, and OPS of 7.62 for third in Major League Baseball. We already mentioned that they led the league in home runs at 237, and they came in third place in Major League Baseball in RBIs with 782. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Behind
So we've
only the
talked a lot about
Dodgers
the Yankees
and the
today.
D-backs.
We've talked a lot about the Yankees today, talking about how they did a lot of things really well. Obviously, the offense is unreal, just outstanding. Two offensive players up for MVP, which makes sense, and Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, because those are two of the best players in baseball, two of the best hitters we have, right?
Yeah.
The pitching was good. Pitching was really great. Fourth best in the American League as far as the ERA goes.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal to be able to balance your offense and your pitching. The problem was, it's what we saw in Game 5 of the World Series. We saw problems with base running. Not as much in Game 5, right? But we
Not
did
as
see
much
it
in
the World
Game
Series.
5, but it
But
happened
we saw it.
all through the postseason. Yeah.
Yes. And then consistent defense was a problem too. That as far as the outfield goes, they don't have the best speed in the outfield, which is going to make a difference, ultimately giving up extra base hits. And
that
base
happens
hits in general. Because if you don't have the range, you're giving up more hits. So,
well, they've got great arms. They just can't get to the ball. That's the biggest problem.
right. Yeah. And that's one of the things, too, that you're not going to see on paper. You're only going to see that with the eyeball test. Even between everybody, the teams I watched the most this year, I would have to say would be the Mariners, obviously. I watched a lot of Yankees. I watched a lot of Dodgers just because of who they are. And then, everybody here and there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier to see who has what and where when you watch those teams more often. But I said it earlier. I think the Yankees are going to address those issues. I think they're going to figure out how to help guys take the most efficient route to the ball. They're going to help guys with their jump. They're going to work on base running. They're going to work on basic fundamentals of fielding. I think they're going to get over the hump with all that stuff. I don't know. I'm not saying they're going to win the World Series next year, because the Dodgers are going to be really dangerous, especially when they do sign Roki Sasaki. But I wouldn't be surprised if they were the best in the American League again.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. I think that Jazz coming over was
Huge.
unbelievable. Without him, I don't know. I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure. Energy, performance on the field, and he made his fair share of blunders. Plenty. But he still did enough to shore it up. I think that the lack of balance in the lineup for the most part, in terms of lefty versus righty, and in terms of just basic at-bat strength, right? Basic hitting capabilities. You call it average if you want, but they perform better at the top end of that lineup this year than they did at the bottom. And that was a problem. It was a huge imbalance. So they got to fix that offensively, which is amazing because their offense was crazy. And if you want to talk about how that looks in real time, just look at the left on base statistic, which is my favorite thing to harp on. You get the top half of the lineup and sometimes even 8 and 9 can get on base. And then like 6 through 8, sometimes 5 through 8, depending on who the lineup is, couldn't do it and couldn't put it together.
Mm-hmm.
It was disgusting.
So you
I'm
talk
still
about
mad.
Jazz. Here's an interesting thing about Jazz. I feel like playing in meaningful games made a world of a difference for him. Being on a team where him playing well mattered. So he played in 101 games for the Marlins this year and 46 for the Yankees, almost exactly half, right?
Yeah.
So his OPS, what would you say OPS plus? OPS plus with the Marlins this year was 97. With the Yankees, Brig, 130. He hit 13 total homers with the Marlins this year in those 101 games.
Yeah.
He hit 11 in 46 games with the Yankees. He stole 22 bags in 101 games with the Marlins. He stole 18 in 46 games with the Yankees.
You're kidding.
He was motivated. He wanted to win. He took his game to another level when he got with the Yankees because it mattered.
Yeah.
And the Yankees saw that. They saw what he was capable of. I think the whole league knows what he's capable of, but the Yankees are the only team that was willing to take the risk and fork out whatever the Marlins were asking for him and bring him into a better situation for him as a player and his mentality, and it paid off for him. I think Jazz is going to be an all-star next year as a Yankee.
In 46 games with the Yankees, he averaged 273 at the plate. Beat it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I mean,
In
there's a
what
couple
was?
guys on the team that do.
Oh.
In 46 games, he was batting 273.
Uh-oh.
18 stolen bases.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's killer, man. 88
doubles,
total bases. Yeah. Ugh.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, it makes a world of a difference for guys. And especially being on a team where in, like, what was it, May? The GM was like, we're not making the playoffs anyway. It doesn't matter what we do. Right? Like, way to motivate your players. The guys who
you can't.
apparently need some kind of motivation to be playing meaningful games.
Exactly.
And he's back to his natural position. He's back in the infield. That might have something to do with it too. But I think overall,
it does.
What he does matters. So he's going to take it to another level.
I agree.